Word on the streets, it's Bowlznbeatz. What's good, everybody, and welcome back. It's your girl X, and joining us today, I have a content creator and food enthusiast, which is one of my favorite in the cannabis community. Let's welcome Cannabinista, aka Anna.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm super excited.
We finally get to meet
I know.
in person.
It's been a long time coming.
How many years? Like, I feel like,
Since like the beginning of COVID, right?
yeah.
Right?
We've been online friends
Yes.
for 3 years now.
Yeah.
You guys.
I'm going to call you a chef because you are a chef. Okay. She's a chef and she makes foods with CBD and THC. And before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know that we are going to do a recipe later. So stay tuned. Tell them what we're going to be making, Anna.
We're going to make a cannabis infused coffee.
Ooh.
This is kind of like what I have like pretty much every morning, I would say. It's going to be CBD based. So going to be nice and mellow. Good way to kind of like ease into your evening. I know it's kind of like nighttime right now, so coffee, people might be like, what the hell are you guys drinking coffee at like 6 p.m.? But
well, my followers know I love coffee, so I'm all here for it. When you told me you were making a latte, I was like, I can't wait because I've actually never tried an infused latte before.
Okay,
so
you'll like it.
I'm like super excited for that. I can't wait. Stay tuned. So like I was saying, I watched Anna grow from 0 to like 10K followers, and it was crazy because you did it in such a quick span of time. Like it was pretty. No, give yourself your flowers.
Thank you.
Yes. And it was nice to see because not only are you from Toronto, but like you're a woman doing that. Not a lot of women are like taking, that lead into the cannabis role. So it's really nice to see that. I just want to say, I'm proud of you. I like seeing that, and I hope you continue to do what you're doing because you're really amazing at it.
Thank you.
No
I
problem.
think it's really important that like more women show up online and like even with cannabis, right? Like
Yes.
it's very stigmatized. Like, women are like, supposed to be like not consume cannabis and things like that. So I think it's like really, I just wanted to like be a face and show people, hey, like you can be like, any race, any color, any gender, and identify as anything, and like show yourself and be a cannabis consumer. And like that doesn't define who you are as an individual, because like whoever consumes the plant, like it has like no effect on like who you are as a person, your personality, your success, or anything like that.
It's not a personality trait. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
So my first question is, how did you get the name Cannabinista? Like, where did that name come from?
Yeah. I think I literally it was during COVID. I was literally sitting on my couch. I like just took a big edible and I think I was just like, what's a cool name that I can think of? And like, I'm not someone who's creative. Like I really don't, like I'm not really artsy. I don't really have a creative mind in a traditional sense.
Yeah.
And then I think I literally was just like, okay, what can I combine cannabis with something at the ending? So I was like, okay, how about cannabis plus fashionista? Because like, I don't know, a fashionista is like someone who's like a purveyor or like an influencer of some sort. So I just like put the words together and I was like, this sounds good.
It's
and then
literally
the
perfect.
handle was available too. So that's also really important. I like was literally checking like what's still available on Instagram.
Yes.
So it just worked out.
That's awesome. It did. It sounds so great. Like so catchy. Cannabinista.
Yeah. Some people say cannabarista, cannabinsta,
God.
and I'm just like,
Insta.
yeah, someone has said cannabis insta before, and I'm like, why would I name myself cannabis insta? Like that is so not creative. But
And when you were coming up with the name, did you already know you were going to do this, or were you still like kind of like thinking of the thought process?
I was just like making videos at home for fun. Honestly, like it was just out of
Okay.
boredom, like because of the pandemic. Like you literally we were locked down for so long, like couldn't do anything. And I just started posting, and like back then, hashtags for cannabis were allowed. So this is before they banned it. So it was really easy to actually connect with other people in Canada who also loved weed.
So true.
Yeah, and that I think that really contributed to like me kind of like entering the space and like knowing people from like BC, Quebec who also loved weed, and like that was also kind of like the come up. It was like what year did COVID happen? I can't remember.
I know, right? It's like
2020.
what year are we in right now?
But that was like 1 to 2 years, I believe, after legalization. So it was still very fresh and new. So it was kind of a really good time to enter.
Yeah. And did you always like cooking, or was this something you kind of picked up throughout the pandemic?
No, I've always loved to cook. Ever since I was like young. I think like during the pandemic, I definitely got to like refine my skills and like try more recipes. I feel like everyone like made banana bread or
Right.
like something like that. So I think like I continue to learn more about how to cook different foods and cuisines and things like that. But I've always loved cooking. Like
That's
it's
awesome.
I just love food.
And how about when it comes to cannabis? Did you always consume that, or was that something you recently got into as well?
So I consume cannabis. Like I probably started when I was like in high school. Like when you first try your first
Usual,
time, and then you don't feel it, and then you get like super high all of a sudden. But and then kind of like into university, I would consume it more as like a way to unwind and relax after like, you know, exams, like just really stressful. I actually didn't consume for a period of time, kind of like in my early 20s, and kind of got back to it pre-pandemic, and kind of just obviously pandemic, I would say, definitely had me consuming more due to like anxiety and stresses. But yeah, I would say like my journey like started kind of back in the day, but like I wasn't really aware of like dosage, or like I didn't really know what I was doing back then, I guess you could say.
And when did you realize you liked to cook with weed in it? When did you realize that?
Yeah, I think the first time I like made edibles was like in high school. Like we like borrowed someone's kitchen and we just made like brownies for like 420, just like classic.
Who has cool parents?
Yeah, who has cool parents, exactly. And it was just like classic teen stoner like story. But the cooking with cannabis probably started like when I obviously like moved out, like I could like have my own space to cook. So I was like before the pandemic. And then kind of like my love for cooking with cannabis got stronger and stronger as I started to like almost like practice it more, almost like seeing like, oh wow, I can make like anything literally in the world with cannabis and get high at the same time. So.
And now that it's become like a profession, you also have to do your research, right? You have to like know your facts, and you find out things you never even knew, and it just like heightens your passion. I don't know about you, but also ever since I started Bowlznbeatz, I'm like found like this whole other love for weed that I'm like I didn't even know I had. Like I knew I loved it, but I'm like, wow, like this is forever. Like, it's so amazing, and there's so many things people don't know about, and I love that you're doing that. I see on your reels and your content, you're like actually, you know, being knowledgeable, and you're giving out information that people need to know when they're consuming it. You're not just like, I'm getting high, haha, it's an edible. Like you're letting people know the facts.
Yeah, I think it's really important, like especially when you're showing cannabis on these social platforms where obviously there's going to be children and stuff like that. Like it's important to come from an educational perspective, because at the end of the day, education is what's going to end stigmas, right?
Yes.
Like if I was to go on, you know, social media and show myself getting like super high, like that's just going to amplify the stigma that we are already fighting, right? So by coming from a perspective that like, hey, like I'm trying to be educational, explain what THC, CBD is, explain how to dose mindfully, intentionally, explain how cannabinoids work, right? Things like that. I think people kind of see that and they're like, oh, like this is like a, you know, like an intelligent conversation almost, and people almost kind of take a step back and they're like, oh, I'm kind of like, maybe I shouldn't be so judgmental because it seems like this is very educational.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, and it's for a reason, right?
100%.
And speaking of knowledge is power, so were your parents always comfortable with you doing this, or do they like still not know to this day?
So they still don't know.
I did, mine too.
Yeah.
Immigrants. My parents are like super, no, I'm like, I'm wheezing my way in there. Yeah. It's not as bad as it used to be. Yeah. But they're still like, they don't see how it could be like a serious thing yet.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's an immigrant thing, right? They don't, it's like
different culture,
and like they're back at home, they're told that weed is bad. You know, you go to jail for, in like a lot of Asian countries, you go to jail for even just possessing, right? So it's definitely very stigmatized. But I think again, education, although I don't know, that generation is hella stubborn. I don't know if educating them is gonna work. But yeah, it's definitely like you just gotta like slowly inch a little bit, you know, give them like little CBD, you know, maybe a 1 milligram edible, and they're like kind of loosen up, and then you start to show them the world of cannabis.
I think the key is just like having these uncomfortable conversations, like these conversations that people don't want to hear. Like we have to have these conversations, especially now that it's legal. Like we have to talk about these things. People are consuming it left, right, center, and we have to know how to consume it properly and not make it worse of a look than it already looks like, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so when you got into that, did you realize like it was a different effect when you were cooking? Or are there like different steps? Is there like different ways of cooking it?
Yeah, I would say like with cooking with cannabis, you do have to be very precise. There's been times where I've like kind of winged measurements of cannabis, and that led to an edible being way too strong.
Oh no.
Like if you're at home and you're eating it, it's fine, you're in a safe space, but like you don't want to be sharing with friends, and like, you know, you don't know their tolerance and so forth. So I think when it comes to cooking with cannabis, it's unfortunately it's like you do have to practice almost to know the dosages. Like you can obviously calculate and do all the math and stuff like that, and I would recommend that so that you know how much each serving contains. But it's also a bit of trial and error, because I find that different heats will have different, or temperatures will have different impacts on food, different types of recipes. Like if you're doing like a dissolvable powder versus a butter, right? Or, you know, even different types of meals or food ingredients can impact the flavor and also the experience, I find. So it's a lot of trial and error. So it's definitely different than cooking regular food, because you can kind of just like do whatever.
Exactly.
But with cannabis, like you have to be a little bit more precise, especially if you're going to be serving others, because you want to make sure that everyone has a great experience.
And how long did it take you until you like sort of got the hang of it in terms of like taste? Because I know people, you know, they're like, everybody claims to make edibles, but I'm like, but do you make edibles that taste good?
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah. I think before we were talking about like when you have those edibles and it just tastes like weed and you're just like,
oh my God, the worst. That's literally why I stopped eating edibles. I was like, I hate this. It doesn't taste good. It hits me so hard. And then I saw your page and I was like, oh my God, there's like good food. Like she's telling me the dosage. She's telling me exactly how I'm going to feel, what's being put into my body. Like that's so important.
Yeah. I think the key for me is to use a small dosage per unit. So what I mean by that is like if you're making a cookie, you don't want to like jam pack like, you know, a whole block of infused butter into that. It's gonna dank and taste like weed, right? You want to almost like split it up so that you can have more cookies, but like, does that make sense? So it's and I would combine, like if for example, if a recipe calls for like 1 cup of butter, I would actually use half can of butter and half regular butter.
Oh,
so you're kind of like masking a little bit. There's also, it's very important to use certain herbs and spices as well and other ingredients. So like vanilla extract, for example, maple syrup, these very like dominant flavors will help mask some of that weediness. That's a word. Or just using the right, if you're making like a salty dish, right? If I'm going to make like a, let's say spaghetti and meatballs, for example, right? And I'm using infused olive oil. I want to make sure I'm using lots of like oregano, maybe a little paprika, red chili flakes to kind of like have those flavors almost overpower the weed taste. So,
and I love that you make dishes that aren't just desserts, because I feel like that's what everybody sees in edibles. It's like a cookie, it's a brownie, but they don't see pasta. They don't see, you know, the things you make. I think that's so amazing because it kind of helps destigmatize it, because you're seeing normal food, things that actually look appealing. Like it doesn't just look like an edible that like a 6th grader made or whatever, you know what I mean? So I think that's really awesome. But in terms of content, even though your content's obviously clean and everything looks super delicious, like your account got taken down. Yeah. So if you guys don't know, her account got up to, was it 10K?
It was 10K, yeah.
Yeah, 10K in such a short period of time. And of course, Instagram had to take it down. So how did you deal with that? And how do you move forward with those, what would you call it? I guess bans?
Yeah. So to like give a little bit more context, like I've been battling constant re-enabling and disabling for like 2 years now.
That's
so
ridiculous.
It happens like every 6 months, like whatever, like it'll get flagged, gets taken down. I submit a report, I get it back, happens again. So it's a constant. But then recently it's been fully deleted now. So they sent me like a final email where they were like, we cannot recover you. I even like had a contact at Meta who wasn't able to do anything for me. So I don't know. It's just like they clearly had something against food. So
right?
Yeah.
Delicious food too.
I know. But essentially, like how to like, to answer your question is like, how do I kind of like move forward? It's honestly, you just keep pivoting and you just keep creating, right? Like if they take you down because of X, Y, and Z, okay, next time I'm not going to include this word, or I'm going to show emojis instead, or I'm going to make sure I edit the caption so that it doesn't have cannabis in it, or I'm going to make sure that I don't use this hashtag, or like kind of like review your content to make sure you know like it is 100% clean. So like it gives no chance for bots to report you or for haters to report you. Unfortunately, a lot of it is haters like mass reporting accounts and taking people down. And it's actually not always bots. But moving forward is just honestly like I had a backup account that I started to invest my time into and started to grow that simultaneously. So obviously, you know, it's going to take time to grow another account, but I think the most important thing is to have multiple channels and to have your own channel. So own channel meaning your own website. That can't be taken away from me ever. I have newsletter subscribers that are my own customers, I guess you could say, and I'll always be able to reach out to them. I have my TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, Twitter. So making sure I diversify how I connect with my community is so important. And I'm planning to come out with like other things in the future as well, like Discord, Patreon, things like that. So that's going to be another way that I can make sure that like Instagram can't control like who, like your brand, community, my brand, right? So
I think it's ridiculous how they can kind of just take someone's business away when they've worked so hard and like have like sacrificed so much to build it to what it was. Like,
oh, they don't give a fuck.
That's ridiculous.
They don't give a fuck.
Like, me just thinking about like one day if Bowlznbeatz were to ever disappear, like, oh my god, like how do you even move forward? You're like all that work.
Yeah, you almost got to like preemptively plan that you're gonna get taken down and like make sure you have a backup account and that you're telling people to follow that, telling people to subscribe to your website, newsletter, and your other channels.
Okay. So clearly you've had experience with this. Do you have any other tips for someone who might be in the cannabis industry that their things keep getting taken down?
Oh, so many tips. I shameless plug, but I do have an article on my website at thecannabinista.com that literally gives you all the tips of everything I've documented over time. But I'll give you some quick like hot tips.
Yes, go check it out, you guys, if you want to see the full document. I'm gonna put the links here.
Essentially, like, to just protect yourself, like you're gonna see accounts that actually say cannabis and show cannabis and can get away with it, right? That's always gonna happen. But what happens is, like, you want to make sure you're in a position where you don't give any bots or any haters an opportunity to report your account for anything. So even though there are some accounts that can get away with this, like the moment that they do get reported or a manual reviewer reads it, they can easily get flagged. So you just want to kind of like protect yourself and prevent yourself from even not giving anyone an opportunity to take you down, basically. So
and how do you do that?
So I would like refrain from using the word cannabis, THC, CBD, all those classic things. Don't use banned hashtags. Always check the hashtags that you're using beforehand. So you can just type it in, and if it's grayed out or shadowed out, you'll know that it's a banned hashtag. Never put $ in association with anything related to cannabis because they can flag that. You don't want to be using language that's like suggesting or promoting like directly. Giveaways are also kind of like messy. One time, one of my giveaways got taken down, even though I was giving away a sweater.
Oh my God, tell me about it.
I was like,
I do monthly giveaways, and tell me how the one giveaway I didn't incorporate cannabis in got flagged. I was like,
my God.
Huh?
Yeah, I feel like you gotta call it something else, like share away or something. I don't know. Like, there's all these like hilarious words nowadays that like you just kind of like. For example, I say broccoli, or like I say like herb, like, you know, very like subliminal kind of words. That would be my main tips. And like, make sure another one is don't engage in anything related to cannabis sales through DMs, right? You hear about that a lot. So what happens is when your account gets flagged, let's say it's disabled, Instagram actually has the right to go through your DMs and validate that you are in fact legitimate, or like you're make sure you're not conducting any business, right? So you don't want to be soliciting. So if someone messages you and they want to talk about cannabis, tell them to go reach out to your email, right? Take it offline. Don't talk about you know, anything transactional in your DMs, because they are reading it 100%.
Wow, you guys hear that? Instagram are ops. They're your ops. Watch out.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Wow. So you mentioned you have a newsletter.
Yeah.
So can people can subscribe to that, and you put out weekly recipes, or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So every Tuesday I send out, you know, a couple of my newest cannabis infused recipes. I also send out educational articles that I write myself. So things like, you know, what is like very basic stuff, like what's THC, what's CBD, things like that. But also like how to cook with cannabis, how to infuse cannabis coconut oil, how to make cannabis body lotion, like different things like that I'll share. So
I love that.
Yeah.
And you said your account got taken down, but you weren't selling anything, correct?
No.
How did that correlate? Because I see girls out here that have like 500,000 followers smoking weed. That's literally all they do. And I'm like, how are they not getting taken down, but your recipes are?
Yeah, I think I know which account you're talking about, but they definitely have they definitely know someone at Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, if you notice, like a lot of the like LPs, right? They put out cannabis stuff all the time, and they have like so many followers, but they don't get taken down. But like, they're obviously paying people. Like, that's
crazy,
right?
Wow.
They have account managers, right? Essentially what it is at Meta, right? So these account managers, I don't know what type of relationship they have with them, but essentially these account managers are protecting them from getting taken down, because there's obviously ad revenue or some kind of kickback that they're getting. Like, it's just common sense, right? Like,
interesting.
So
that's another tip. Get your connections.
Get your connections. Wow. Yeah, you need connections.
Wow.
You need a Meta account manager.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah.
That's ridiculous. Oh my God. I'm literally like, this makes so much sense now. Like, even out of the cannabis industry, like sometimes I'll see accounts that I'm like, how are you not getting taken down? Like,
yeah, like there'll literally
so inappropriate. Like,
there'll literally be accounts that are like clearly selling hard drugs, like cocaine,
right?
Like a fucking meth, like on Instagram,
right?
And like, we're literally just trying to cook with some butter. That's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do.
They don't want to see us win. That's fine. But that's why she's here now, you guys. She's back to build her account. You're not going to stop what you're doing, because obviously you love it, right? So why would you stop? And I think what you're doing is great. So continue doing it. Now, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I don't know if I'm ready, you guys. Okay, we're going to get into making the infused latte. Ta-da! All right, guys, let's get into it. This is my first time actually making anything that's ever been infused, believe it or not. So Anna's going to be my first chef.
Okay, this is super easy. Like, This is kind of like my go-to for every morning pretty much. We're going to do a CBD infused coffee, and essentially how the infusion is going to happen is we're just combining the oil with almond milk. And this is really important that you're using a fat-based ingredient because cannabis is fat soluble, so it means, it's lipid, so it means that it only binds with fat-based ingredients. So if you were to just make a black coffee with water, like the oil would just float on the top and it just wouldn't work. It would stick to the rim of the glass. So
interesting.
You always want to make sure you're using, like, could be cow's milk, could be almond milk, oat milk. As long as it has fat in it, it's going to kind of like emulsify with the oil.
Okay, awesome.
So what you're gonna do, we're using instant coffee. Normally this would be espresso pod, but we're limited here. You can just grab a tablespoon of this instant coffee and put into the cup. Into that one. Oh, no.
Oh, guys, see, I'm terrible. I'm already messing up. Into this cup,
the drinking cup.
This glass cup.
So we're just gonna pour the rest there. No problem. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is, let me just put it aside. You're gonna pour the almond milk into this frother. So
all of it?
Yeah. Let's do half.
Okay.
Yeah. So I could do a little more. You know what? Just do it.
Let's just have a little bit of fun with that.
Okay. This frother is great. Okay, and then you're just gonna put a bunch of CBD drops. I would do about 20 drops. That should be good.
So, do you prefer to cook with CBD or THC?
It depends. If it's dinner time, it's definitely gonna be THC because I'm gonna be chilling at home. Daytime is gonna be CBD.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
Know.
Oh no, I said 20 drops.
Oh, 20.
20.
I thought you said 2. I was like,
no.
Doing a little salt bay. Oh, okay.
So what do you want to do? What do you want?
She's like, okay, that's 20 now.
You want to like tilt it and then kind of tap so that the drops are. You see how it's measured? Like it's measured. Whereas before, I think you were doing a drop and a half.
Yes.
So precision is very important.
This is a great like beginner and pro comparison.
It's CBD, so it's fine. But like, if it was THC, obviously, which is like, they're both psychoactive, but THC is obviously more intoxicating.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you're doing even droplets here.
Okay.
Oops. So that should be good. We should be good there. So this frother is great because it basically heats up the milk and it kind of emulsifies everything together. If you don't have this frother, it's fine. You can just like use a whisk, like, but we just want to be cool here.
Okay.
Or you can use like, those like
old school
blender electric whisks
that
they have nowadays.
Okay.
You can use that.
Okay, awesome.
So I'm just gonna press once and it's gonna start whisking. Nope, it's not whisking.
Oh, never mind.
Shoot. Hold on. There we go.
Ooh.
Okay. We're good. So that's probably gonna take about like 30 seconds. While you're waiting for this, you can pour half a cup of water into here.
Okay.
Yeah. While this is frothing, I'm gonna add a little bit of maple syrup as well, just to add some sweetness to it.
Do you add the sweetness because you just like sweetener or because it masks the taste?
I actually don't use it. I just wanted to make it really tasty for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
But yes, I love maple syrup is great because it really masks the wheat taste. But this is an isolate oil, so it's not going to have that kind of terpy taste.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isolate, for those who don't know, it just means it's not full spectrum, so it doesn't contain the other terpenes and full cannabinoid profile. It's really just CBD. That's it is. And it was like a clear oil, so no taste. So we're just gonna wait, and it should be done in a bit. You get a nice little frothy foam.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. So what's your favorite recipe to cook?
I made this infused chili oil that I use on like wontons, noodles, rice, like eggs. Like literally I'll put it on anything. So it's like kind of like a condiment. So I think that's like my favorite thing to use. Yeah.
That sounds
super versatile. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. This is my first cooking episode.
Cooking.
I'm so excited.
I
love
cooking.
to cook, but it's so hard to find people who do what you do and who want to show face.
Oh.
It's so hard. That's why when I saw what you were doing, I'm like, I have to have this girl on the podcast one day.
Yeah.
And here we are, enjoying a nice latte. So how do you find that you feel after this every morning?
More relaxed, I would say, like less worried about the tasks of things that I have to achieve for the day, and like more mellowed out. Like I don't know if you can tell I'm like very type A type of person.
Yes.
So like I'm always trying to like check things off my list. Like what's
She was
next?
early, you guys.
I was like 30 minutes early.
She was early. I'm like, damn, she gets shit done.
That's why like CBD helps me. It's just like it just complements my personality type really well.
It's true.
And then especially THC at night, it just gets my mind not thinking about the day. You know, it gives me a chance to regenerate and like actually relax.
Yes. And a lot of people don't get that. They think like when you get stoned, it's just to like get high and be stupid. But some people use it to just kind of ground themselves.
Yeah.
Just to like recenter yourself.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
you know, get everything back to how it's supposed to be flowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if I'm having a bad day, I feel like my energy's off. I'm
Yeah.
like, let me just get myself together.
Recalibrate, right?
Yeah, exactly. With some Bowlznbeatz, you know?
What's your favorite way to consume?
That's a hard one. I think I'm about to say a joint.
Yeah.
Nothing beats a joint. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I wish like, but I mean, now I've met you.
Yes.
I didn't like edibles because of the taste and
Yeah.
how hard it hit me.
Yeah.
Like when I would always get like from the plug, you
Yeah,
know, or
yeah,
like those
yeah.
potent ones that are
Yeah.
like super harsh.
Yeah.
It just hits me so hard, and I don't like how it like suddenly just like
All of a sudden
makes you
yeah.
feel like, oh, I don't know what to do now. So I'm super excited to try this and like find new ways to incorporate cannabis
Yeah.
without having that feeling, that typical like groggy,
Yeah,
lazy
yeah,
feeling.
yeah. I definitely don't feel groggy. Like literally.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We
every day I
need more
feel-
people like that.
Yeah, I feel super. I wake up at 6 a.m.
That's
so like I'm
amazing.
good. Like I
Great.
don't like. I'm not the type of person that like does an edible, passes out till the next day. No, I'm
Exactly.
good.
But we need more people like telling,
Yeah.
like, you know, giving out education that you can be that person.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make you feel stupid or lazy.
No,
It's really in your hands.
100%.
Quite literally.
Literally. Okay, so it's done frothing now, nice and foamy.
Oh my God.
All you're gonna do is just pour this into that, and
Do the
you want me to do it?
honors.
Okay. And then
Ooh.
a bit of foam.
Oh my God. There's foam.
Ooh, that looks good.
That looks really good. You guys. Oh my God. I'm so. Can I try it?
Yes. I hope it tastes good. Probably really hot.
Oh my God. That was so good. I almost didn't realize how hot it was.
Is it really hot?
Yeah. I almost
Be
like, teared
careful.
up for a second. Oh my God. That's so good.
I'm glad. I can smell it. It's like maple coffee.
Oh, it's good. This is giving me like Christmas, you know, inside my house vibes.
It's a
I love
very
it.
maple smell.
It's really good. Oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem. And yeah, you could like totally, you can make that with like THC, oil, CBD, both, right? If you want a
Exactly.
balanced drink. So options are endless.
And can you find this on your newsletter, this recipe?
Yes, it's on my website. So
Awesome.
infused coffee, it's all there. Infused lattes, tea lattes as well.
That's
yeah.
great. This is so good. This is so good. You did a good job.
Thank you.
That's amazing. I love it. So have you made edibles or like a dish, I should say, for anybody who's never tried cannabis before? Were you kind of like their first timer? Because I think you would be like a great introduction to cannabis because it's like not too harsh. It doesn't taste bad, you know?
Yeah. No, because I think most of my friends do consume cannabis. So there hasn't been a newbie that I can infest with my goodies. But if you know someone, I'm more than happy to be the first giver.
Good to know. You know what? It might just be my mom. I feel like she's like super against weed, but I think if it was CBD and it was also something like this that looks, you know, enjoyable, she would be like totally fine with it.
Yeah.
So that's good to know. You know what? We might have to set that up one day.
Yes, for sure. I'm down.
I love that. And in your recipe book, are there like different kinds of recipes in terms of like breakfast, lunch, dinner, or do you stick to like one kind of niche?
Yeah, like on my website, I do a bunch of different recipes. So literally breakfast, lunch, dinner, condiments, which I talked about earlier, infused chili oil, butters, coconut oil, kind of like staples that you want so that you can infuse it with food. Desserts, obviously. And I kind of like my philosophy for making recipes generally, like I want to keep it simple, minimal ingredients that are good for you, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the edibles you see in the market today, number one ingredient, sugar. And then like this other word that you can't pronounce and like food coloring, like just a bunch of crap in it. So what I'm trying to do is like get away from that, right? Like I want to get down to basics and eat real foods. Like what can I make that's really tasty, made with natural, simple ingredients, but you know, you can also get high. So
that's true.
Yeah.
And in your opinion, like in your own personal opinion, do you like to consume CBD or THC more?
Oh, that's a good one. They have a different purpose for like depending on what I'm feeling that day. So like daytime, it will definitely be CBD because I just like I'm just trying to get stuff done, right? I don't want to be distracted or anything like that. Towards the midday, end of the night, it will definitely be THC or a combination of THC and CBD together. That really helps me like relax, especially after like working out, having like a stressful long day. So I would say like kind of depends.
And getting into this industry, is there anything you learned along the way that you were unaware of before getting into it?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right? I feel like almost everybody getting into it is like they don't know what they're really getting into because the cannabis industry is tough.
Yeah, I would say probably how like it's not very structured. It's very chaotic.
Yes.
Because you would think that it would operate like a consumer packaged goods industry, like a CPG industry, right? But it's
very
really
true.
not. And it's almost like it's kind of interesting and fun in a way because you can kind of set the pavement for how you want this industry to be because everything is still moving. So like, you know, like there's no established playbook because this industry is so brand new. So like you could literally go into something and like make it what you want. So it's kind of like fun and exciting, I guess, in a sense. It's like you don't really know how things are going to go, but the chaos is also not amazing sometimes.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's like pros and cons, I would say.
Yeah. And I'll say when the industry changes, do you feel like you're going to grow your brand into something bigger than it is right now?
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm always like, we talked about this earlier, but like diversifying is so important, right? Like what can I do beyond just recipes? You know, maybe I want to sell my own kitchen equipment. You know, maybe I want to sell my own cannabis infusion device in the future. There'd be lots of different things. Maybe I'm teaching cooking classes online through Zoom. I don't know. Like I'm just listing a bunch of different
Would
things.
you ever open up your own restaurant?
Ooh.
Like, do you want to be a chef or would you be like, nah, that's too much work?
I want to open up. I've thought about opening up a cafe. Probably not like a restaurant. I'm definitely not a chef, but like I think a cafe with like lattes, matcha lattes, like, you know, infused banana bread, infused cookies, things like that. That would be amazing.
I think so as well.
But I feel like the regulations are like
they're not there yet. They're not there yet.
I don't think so.
Interesting, because like dispensaries, they sell edibles, but you can't do that.
But you can't eat the edible. You technically cannot eat cannabis inside the retail store, right? You can do it outside. Once you step outside of their vicinity, you can do whatever you want.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really weird because we go out to patios, you go everywhere, and they're serving alcohol. So
yeah, 100%.
Why can't we do the same
with
CBD? Not even THC, like just CBD. That's all we're asking.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That would be a huge hit. So honestly, when it changes, I'm gonna manifest that. When it does change, you're gonna do amazing with that. Honestly, I can see it already.
Yeah. Well, let's keep manifesting.
Now, my last question. Are there any plans for your brand in the future that you currently already have in the works?
I definitely have a lot of exciting partnerships and things coming up in collaborations. So I'll be definitely branching outside of just food. I'll say that.
Awesome.
And I kind of touched on it a bit earlier, but, you know, I'll be kind of launching my own Discord channel where it's going to be a new way for me to connect even more deeply with my followers. So, you know, they can reach out to me about, you know, hey, I'm having troubles with cooking this or infusing this. Like they can reach out to me directly. So kind of creating more of a community outside of Instagram, which I talked about this earlier, and kind of just like looking at other ways to partner more deeply with like my community and continue to give them more education. So lots of fun things in the work. So definitely I'll keep you posted for sure. For sure.
And before I wrap up this interview, is there anything you want to tell my audience about what you got going on or where they can find you?
Okay, should I look somewhere?
Yeah, right here.
Oh. Okay, so for all my cannabis infused recipes, make sure you go to thecannabinista.com. My Instagram is cannabinista.co, C-O. TikTok, I'm Cannabinista. Just type in Cannabinista on Google and I will come up. So
that's how you do it, okay? You Google search her, she will come up. Thank you so much for coming today. And again, I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. We need to normalize CBD and THC, especially with women-owned businesses. I love it. And I love having you on this podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks so much.
And this was amazing. You guys, 10 out of 10. I'm not joking. 10 out of 10. Well, that wraps up our interview with the Cannabinista. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good shit. Word on the streets, it's Bowlznbeatz. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. I'm sweating.
Me too. I was like, on the camera, it's gonna show.
And you're drinking a hot drink too.
Yeah.